from Clarkston, Michigan, the greatest city in the world. It's the Jose Aliaga Show. Jose Aliaga knows everyone. Get to know him as he interviews some of the most fascinating people from the greater Independence Township area. And now, broadcasting from the studios at Clarkston High School, the home of the state champion Wolves, here's Jose Aliaga.
Welcome to the Jose Aliaga Show. Today we have an exciting guest. His name is Scott Hagerstrom. Scott is the director of state campaign in the state of Michigan for Donald Trump, who is running for president of the United States. How are you doing, Scott?
Great. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's an honor and privilege to have you here in Clarkston area. So let's get to I have many questions for you, and probably a lot of people want to know what's going on with Donald Trump campaign. So why people should vote for Donald Trump?
Well, Donald Trump is an agent of change. I think we need change. People recognize that we need change. You know, we're not respected overseas anymore. We have threats here on the homeland. You see the knifing in the Minnesota Mall in the name of radical Islam, pipe bombs in New Jersey and New York, the bombing of the nightclub in Orlando, San Bernardino and California. You know, we actually have many terrorist events happening right here on the homeland. So we're at threat here too. And then because we need change. It's the worst economic recovery since 1949. We're looking at 1% growth. We need far greater growth than that. You know, and people feel like they play by the rules. You know, they work hard, they play by the rules, and they can't get ahead. They feel like, you know, the system is rigged against them. And, you know, Hillary Clinton represents that Washington, D.C. system, the Wall Street. Her speeches recently came out that she gave in private for several $100,000 apiece to Wall Street, and she really shows a lot of duplicity between the face she shows privately to the corporate community and the things she says publicly. Donald Trump is out there, he's direct, and he is the agent of change, and he's a doer. He gets things done.
So why do you think Hillary can't be trusted?
Hillary, why she can't be trusted is a very good question. It goes back to the WikiLeaks. She has a public and private position on many things. And, you know, she was for TPP, now she's against it. Now, just a couple days ago, her running mate said, well, you never say never. And especially to us, you know, right here in Michigan with manufacturing, NAFTA was devastating to our manufacturing here in the state of Michigan. She's a wholehearted supporter of NAFTA, and on TPP, she supports TPP is the bottom line, and that would be further devastation. She wants to raise taxes. You look at the 33,000 emails and what's come out, you know, after those emails were subpoenaed by Congress, she ordered that they be bleached, that they be erased from her computer. Now, when you delete emails or something on your computer, it's not really gone. Forensics people can come in from the FBI and find those until they're overwritten. The process of bleaching means that they went in there and they actually, it's a very expensive process, went in there and took the emails out permanently so those forensics experts from the FBI could not find the emails. So you have case after case where she can't be trusted. You know, she called Bernie Sanders supporters. You know, the past 4 months she's been talking about Bernie Sanders supporters and how she's coming over and supports the same thing they want. And now it comes out through emails that she calls them hopeless basement dwellers. She makes fun of them. She says they got to realize that we cannot do the things that Bernie really wants. So she's been lying to them. She's been lying to them.
Do you think she beat Bernie in the primaries legally? I mean,
well, there definitely was collusion between the Democrat National Committee and her campaign. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, even those emails came out this summer, had to resign. And now we see Donna Brazil, the person that went in there, is also under fire because more emails have come out showing that she was in collusion while at CNN with the Hillary campaign. So they seem to use these backroom deals, collusion with the media, collusion with their friends. You know, it just came out too, on that note, it just came out that the deputy director of the FBI, who was in charge of the Clinton investigation, his wife was running for Senate, and Hillary's friend donated close to $500,000 to her campain.
Wow.
So there's some backroom connections there that need to be investigated. It's pretty disturbing. And another thing that came out is that they were sending people, the DNC, to rallies, to Trump rallies, to incite violence. And that's come out in these emails. It's really, it's amazing.
Unbelievable. So the polls show that Donald Trump is behind in Florida by 4%, but he's winning Ohio. And then the swing states looks like it's a battleground in Pennsylvania. So what do you think about those polls?
You know, not a lot. Polls have been drastically wrong. I mean, let's go to last year with Prop 1 where they wanted to raise taxes here in Michigan. No pollster predicted it would, the no side would get over 55, 60%. The people of Michigan voted 80-20. So that poll was way off. Then we go to the primary here in Michigan. Polls had it very close. Some polls had Donald Trump losing. He actually won Michigan by 12 points. And in addition, Hillary Clinton was supposed to walk away with Michigan over Bernie Sanders by between 20 and 24 points. When the election took place, she lost.
Oh.
So those polls were way, way off. Okay. So, you know, so I don't think a lot about the polls. And then going further, Podesta, who's the chair of the Hillary campaign, has been coaching pollsters on how to adjust their polls in a way that will show that she's winning, sort of a psychological warfare that they're playing on the electorate to try to suppress Republican enthusiasm for the candidate. For example, in Florida, they said, well, you need to, when you're surveying independents, you need to survey them in Orlando and in Tampa because those independents lean Democrat. So fill your quotas up with people from those cities. It'll help our numbers. They oversample Democrats by 9 points over Republicans. So it's not surprising that those polls have come out. There are a few pollsters, though, that we're not listening to Podesta. You know, the most accurate poll from 2008 and 2012 was from Investors Business Daily, and they have Donald Trump actually up by 2 points nationwide.
Oh.
So, yeah.
So do you think Donald Trump can win Michigan?
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. There are two polls actually just out. The two most recent have him down by 5 and 4 points. And there's a lot of independents that have not decided. There's about 10% that haven't decided. So we're very encouraged. She can't seem to get up over 41%. And we know that a lot of people that haven't decided by this point, they favor change. And we know Donald Trump is the candidate for change. He's the person that's, you know, if you think if Washington, D.C. is rigged, if you think it just operates for the well-off and well-connected, then Hillary Clinton is your candidate if you want to continue that. If you want change, if you want to change the system so it's fair and just for everybody, and you want wages to go up again, then Donald Trump is your candidate. You know, Bill Clinton came here just recently to Flint, Michigan, and he said he mocked Americans for being angry that their wages were not going up. He mocked everyday working Americans. Everyday working Americans are out there, you know, trying to provide for their families, and the best way for prosperity is to benefit from your labor. And, you know, he signed NAFTA. That's keeping wages low. Hillary's policies will continue to keep very slow growth, keep wages down, and that's the last thing that we need.
Scott, why Donald Trump's economic plan is better?
Donald Trump's economic plan is far better. On average, the middle-class family with 2 kids will receive a 35% pay cut or tax cut. I'm sorry, tax cut. Hillary Clinton will raise taxes on all Americans. In addition, he'll do away with regulations. He'll lower energy costs. You know, we have $50 trillion worth of resources in this country: shale, oil, gas, clean coal, and the Obama administration has put constraints, regulations that prevent us from really utilizing those resources. You know, Hillary Clinton's okay with putting coal miners out of work. And you may say, well, we're in Michigan, so what does that matter? Well, one, we're all Americans. We need to do well. But coal miners, when they're out of work, they can't buy Chevy pickup trucks or Ford pickup trucks. So it's very important that these jobs, these are good paying, union paid jobs, that we utilize our natural resources, and that we build things like the Keystone Pipeline, which the Obama administration and Hillary Clinton have sat on.
Why Donald Trump's Supreme Court pick will be better than Hillary?
Well, many, many ways. Hillary Clinton believes the Second Amendment has been interpreted wrong. She does not believe in gun ownership for everybody. That's abided by the laws. So she wants to change that. She wants to have very progressive agenda on Supreme Court justices. You know, right now, the Supreme Court has said that banning taxpayer-funded abortion in the states is okay in a reasonable control, a reasonable regulation. But Hillary Clinton is looking at Supreme Court justices that would strike that reasonable control down. If she gets her way with the next Supreme Court justices, states will no longer be able to ban taxpayer-funded abortions. So I think that's a very important issue, and then also partial birth abortion. So we could see going back tremendously in some of the reasonable regulations that we have in terms of abortion, and then going backward on our right to carry weapons. Second Amendment rights are very, very important, I know, right here in Michigan. So Mr. Trump would appoint people that would defend the 10th Amendment, that would defend our Constitution, and would be strict constructionists, that would interpret the Constitution as written. It would not legislate from the bench.
I see. So you mentioned lower the taxes. Why lowering taxes is good for the American economy?
Well, if you believe that bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. and politicians can spend your money better than the people that earn it, then Hillary Clinton is definitely your candidate. But if you believe that the people that work for the money should be able to keep more of their money and be able to invest that locally, then Donald Trump's your person. I think when you keep money locally, it filters to the economy. And people make, you know, when you're out there working very hard for your money, you make very hard, but you make very smart choices with how you spend that money and how it can best benefit your family. When you send it to Washington, D.C., basically all you're doing is sending it there so the federal government can take a cut, of what you made, and then a politician takes it, comes back to the state and gets a photo op with the check with the way they think it should be spent, which is just not the way to do it. You know, we need people to be able to benefit from their hard work, keep the money, let them use it to provide for their family in the way they see best fit, and invest in their local economy.
Hillary says that she has more experience than Donald Trump in public office. What do you think about that?
It's not good experience. You know, she's been there. She's been there for so long. You know, it's interesting now. She criticizes Trump for following the law, but when she was there, she didn't propose to change any of these laws. She's been there for 30 years. We need someone new. You know, Donald Trump's had a very successful career. He remade the New York skyline. He's a builder. He gets things done. You know, he's not about talk. He's about doing. And that's what we need in Washington, D.C. We need someone that's going to drain the swamp. Hillary's been part of that swamp of Washington, D.C. for nearly 30 years. And she represents the elite political rigged system that we have that caters to Wall Street and Washington, D.C. lobbyists and special interests. We need someone that's going to work for the American people, and that's clearly what Mr. Trump's going to do. You know, the biggest problem we have in this country right now, one of the biggest problems, is that our economy is only growing at 1%. We traditionally have 4% growth rate, and you know, we can't continue like this. The best way to allow people to provide for their families is that they can benefit from their hard work. And Hillary Clinton is she would take us in the wrong direction.
I see. So now, some people are concerning about Utah and New Mexico that usually goes Republican. And now in Utah, apparently some candidate from different party winning there, and New Mexico is probably Gary Johnson is gonna.
Sure.
Well, according to the polls, we don't know about the polls like you
Right.
mentioned. So, do you think Donald Trump will have enough electoral college support to be able to win the election on November?
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. We've seen that traditionally Democrats are oversampled. You know, when Bill Clinton ran, the final poll that was done, he did 6 points worse in 92 and 3 points worse in 96. So we know that with these polls that they put Democrats in a better position or better light than Republicans, but Republicans end up doing better than what the polls say. So we believe Donald Trump's right where he needs to be. We know that he's ahead in the Investor Business Daily poll. We know that he's ahead in the Rasmussen poll, and we know that he's tied in the LA Times poll. You know, LA Times is not a liberal publication.
No, it's not. You're
So, right, and you know, he came out with his contract with the American voter on Saturday. You know, he's out there talking about the issues that Americans care about, and he's the right candidate at the right time. We're not respected abroad. You know, you draw this red line in the sand in Syria, and then you ignore it. That sends a message to every other country around the world that what America says and what our leaders say in this country means nothing, and they can do whatever they want because there will be no consequences. And then secondly, you know, the threats we have here on the homeland, you know, the disrespect for law and order has just gotten out of hand. You know, over 500 deaths in Chicago right now. That's just not acceptable. You look at the public school system in Detroit, where after generation, you know, it's criminal what's happening. We need change. We need choice in education. And 40 to 50% poverty in Detroit. But yet Bill Clinton, who Hillary sent to Michigan to campaign, says we need to repopulate Detroit with Syrian refugees. One, they're not being properly vetted. The FBI has said we can't properly vet these people, but yet Hillary Clinton wants to increase their numbers drastically coming into this country. Bill Clinton wants to repopulate Detroit. What's that say to the people that have been living in the city of Detroit for decades? We need to help them. We need to rebuild Detroit for the people that are there and need our help, and rebuild the school system for the people who are there. And then you have the economy. You know, Americans want to work. We have a near record amount of people not in the workforce, record amount of people on food stamps. Let's return to the America that we knew, where when you work hard and play by the rules, you can get ahead, and you can get ahead. You don't need, the feeling now is if you're not well connected and you don't have a lobbyist, then you can't get ahead, and that's because of this rigged political system that Hillary Clinton represents. So Donald Trump will change that. And he's serious. He's looking at implementing, part of his agenda, term limits on federal and U.S. Senate and U.S. House members, and doing away with regulations, cutting taxes, just so many changes. He is the candidate of change.
Yeah, it's a good point. So you guys are not in favor of the Syrian refugees to
I'm sorry?
You're not in favor to the Syrian refugees come to Detroit, correct?
No. We're going to put a stop to people that are coming here from regions of the world where we can't, until we know we can properly vet them. You know, that they've said we can't properly vet these people, a lot of these people from the Middle East. We've seen what's happening in Europe. Some of the bombings that have gone on in Europe have been from refugees, people that snuck in and pretended to be refugees. So we need to implement a system. And actually the emails that came out on WikiLeaks, Hillary's staff admits that we can't properly, currently under the current system, we can't properly look at these refugees. So, and evaluate whether they're safe for our country. One more thing that happened, and this is why we need someone like Donald Trump that can run an organization and get things done. There were 800 people that are identified by the State Department as a threat to Americans, and they needed to be deported. You know what happened? They end up making all 800 of those people citizens, people that they identified as a threat. And they said there's nothing we can do about it now, and they're now living here as permanent citizens. We want people here. We want a great big door for people to come through that come legally. There's people that have been waiting in line for a long time. And those people, let's vet them properly. Let's bring them in through our tradition. We've always been very welcoming. It's just when people cut in line, or where we don't know who they are and they're coming here, that we can't continue that policy.
Right. No, it's a good point. A very good point. It's true. And then we have a lot of problems that I don't think so. We have Hillary for 30 years, like you said, and we didn't see any solutions yet.
Right.
That's absolutely agree with that. Well, thank you, Scott. I appreciate your time. And then if some people want to find out more about the campaign, do you have a website? Some people.
Yeah, you can go to donaldjtrump.com, or you can email us at info.mi@donaldtrump.com, or you can call toll-free 855-678-1100. And we look forward to working with you. The next 2 weeks are going to be very exciting, and we have a lot of decisions to make about the direction of our country, and November 8th will be a very important day.
Just for everybody to know also, there's an important election, and absentee ballots are also there. You can request your absentee ballot at the clerk office of your township or city. Thank you so much, Scott.
Great. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.